Welcome to another episode of Doing Philosophy, where we are focused on the nature of epistemology as part of our course on epistemology. Today, we're going to focus on the philosophy of René Descartes, who's known as the father of modern philosophy. He's very famous in many ways. He's a mathematician. He discovered analytical geometry, exponential numbers, x squared, x to the fourth, x to the fifth. That's part of his mathematics. His mathematics allows people to represent any object, physical object, in mathematics, with mathematics, I should say. So this presentation here, your video games, the whole sophisticated gaming system we have is structured along the Cartesian mathematics. But in any case, right now we're going to focus on his view of knowledge. He is a rationalist, like Plato and Aristotle. He is a rationalist. And Descartes is famous for many things. He's said to be the father of modern philosophy because up until then, after the passing of Aristotle, basically Descartes was the first major philosopher who said, hey, there's another way to look at reality. Not because Aristotle was basically a scientist, biologist looking deeper and deeper and deeper into nature. Descartes said, wait a second, let's look at this from a different angle. All right, let's look at reality from a different angle. We call his method, his methodology, okay, methodological doubt or radical doubt for short. He says, what I'm going to do to figure out what reality is, I'm going to go inside my mind and look at all my ideas, all my opinions, he called them, and say which of those things are true beyond a shadow of a doubt. Which things about the world are true beyond a shadow of a doubt. He said, I'm going to act like a skeptic. The skeptics say we can't know anything. So I'm going to try that method. However, I'm going to initiate this idea. There is such a thing as being indubitable, being true beyond a shadow of a doubt. All right. And so I may have an object in front of me like a table, and I think to myself, I doubt, all right, that this table is solid. But when I hit the table, what happens is that I feel that it is still solid. Descartes realized that doubt does not alter reality. Just because you doubt something, you did not alter the reality. This is the foundation of radical doubt. When he applied the same thing to his mind, now we enter into the world of epistemology. If he doubts any of his beliefs about the world, if those doubts suddenly become shaken, that means they're doubted, then that means he doesn't know it in full. But if he can come to doubt something, he's forced to evaluate it because doubting is not going to alter reality, nor does it alter the true status of something. For example, I claimed that 9 times 9 is 81. I doubt it. But upon reflection, I see 9 times 9 is still 81. You can doubt the truth. It's not going to go away. This is the foundation of radical doubt. I can explore truth through doubting it in a very reasonable way. Skeptics think that you doubt leads to absolute, complete loss of all knowledge. Descartes realizes that doubt itself has a limit when you test it. Right? So when going in his mind to look at which of his ideas about the world is true beyond a shadow of doubt, this is what he discovers. And if you want a deeper analysis of this part of his theory, please review the course on metaphysics, where I go in more detail about Descartes' view of reality. So he says, look into my mind. When I look at my mind, all my ideas, I have millions and millions of them. There's a class of ideas that come through my senses. But in the past, my senses have deceived me. At a distance, I see you like a friend, but it's not a friend. Coming home one day, this is as I went through school, I was given this story. Descartes was coming home one day, and as he came through to front of his door, it was dark, early evening. There looked like there was a snake in front of the door. He paused for a second, and he got closer to see what he can do about it. He realized it was not a snake, it was a rope, ship rope, the big heavy ropes that was there that resembled the snake. So he thought, wow, my senses have deceived me. In those occasions, I had to verify it. So now this is called the argument from illusion. So when he goes inside his mind, all these ideas, we call them empirical ideas, about life experiences can be doubted. To confirm that they are real, you need to verify. It's not saying that the reality around him is false, but when I'm thinking deep about what is I know with certainty, my life experiences can be doubted. It's reasonable to doubt these things. They're not indubitable. I could have made a mistake. But on the occasion Descartes saw the snake near the front of the door, he realized that although I may have miscalculated or misinterpreted the rope as a snake, the object of the senses, I was still seeing, I can still hear. My body was still here. Certainly that is true beyond a shadow of doubt. And then his writing said, well, there are stories of people who are in mental asylums and they think they're clear. They think they're Napoleon, but really they're in the mental asylum waiting for their medication. He said, maybe I'm crazy like that. How do I know? That is a doubt. And then he says, look, I've had many times that I have awakened, that I've gone to sleep. And it's cold. I'm shivering in bed, and I get up and decide to go before the living room and sit before the fireplace. In fact, I do that. But then it's late in the evening, I fall asleep. Later, I wake up and discover I am still in the bed getting ready to get up. How do I know right now, as I'm writing my philosophy, that I'm not still in bed getting ready to start my day? My dreams have been so vivid in the past. I think I might be awake, but how do I know? This is the dream argument, the famous dream argument, the one with powerful argument in philosophy. It's powerful in the sense that as adults, we know we are awake. Well, some way we know we're awake. When we try to prove it logically, we come into the Cartesian dilemma. If you have vivid dreams, then there is a logical possibility right now you might be dreaming. With that, he doubted all his personal experiences. So in the one sense, the first argument of illusion, you doubt the object of the senses. The dream argument, you doubt the senses themselves, and thus the body is gone. They are reasonable doubt. That means you need to verify it. But then he said, look, I have a host of beliefs that are not based on my senses or my experience of my senses of body. And those are my truths about mathematics, geometry, and even the existence of God. All of these are abstract entities. They are abstract entities, and they're real. They're part of this world. Now, please see my course on metaphysics to see my view on Pythagoras' view on math, numbers being ultimate reality. But right now, let's look at this here. Numbers are real, but do they exist? Geometrical shapes like triangles and squares are real, but do they exist? We can argue that they don't exist. God, is God real? There is a debate for one side or the other, depending how you define it. If you take God to be real, all right, do you think God to exist? Ordinarily, with regular religious people, spiritual people, when they say God is real, they mean also God exists. Ordinary, regular spiritual people, I don't see how they would put God in the same category as math and geometry. You follow me? They would not put him in the same category because God exists. In practicality, math, numbers are real, but they don't exist. Cubes, are real, but they don't exist. They're ideal constructs, possibilities, right? And so therefore, when you look at the ordinary religious person or spiritual person, a theologian, looking at things strictly logically, if God exists, he certainly couldn't be in that category. So I want to say what Descartes is doing is following a trend that has appeared in philosophy for a while. It appears with Pythagoras, who thought numbers exist. Then it followed through in Plato, who in some aspects thought some of the forms actually exist, like the form of the human being, the soul exists. This same thing continued in Aristotle, okay? And now Descartes, who is also a rationalist, like these other philosophers, is arguing the same way. For him, basically, if God exists, he's also taking numbers and geometry to exist, which is counterintuitive. So this is a very, very controversial area right here. Okay, if there's a weakness in Descartes' theory, it'd be right here about the fundamental nature of these things here. But in any case, he said God is the most dominant force among these abstract entities. And since radical doubt say I must doubt everything, I must also be able to doubt the existence of God. See, a man of faith can't not doubt the existence of God. Here, Descartes is being a man of reason. He's putting his faith aside. He said, being a man of reason. And I want to believe in, I'm speaking like Descartes now, I want to believe in what I know is true beyond a shadow of a doubt. And since doubt does not alter reality, so if I doubt the existence of God and God really exists, God will continue to exist. So I'm going to doubt the existence of God, okay, in such a way so that I can see whether or not I can verify it later, all right? But when I doubt the existence of God, I'm doubting the truth of mathematics and geometry. There are some people who really appreciate Descartes in many ways, and they reject the idea of God's existence, but they fail to understand the nature of Descartes' real move, all right? Descartes is not just saying God, he's saying all abstract entities. Why do you trust that 2 plus 2 is 4 necessarily? Can't you doubt it? How do you know it's supposed to work like that? What is the proof for that? All right. Only in very advanced math class and mathematics geometry do you raise these kind of philosophical questions. And this is a very important thing. So Descartes doubted the entire category of things. He doubted by what is known as the evil genius hypothesis. He says, I believe in all-powerful good God. But look at the world around you. It has good and evil. Good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. There might just as well be an all-powerful evil being out there. How would I know the difference? What he's doing by raising the evil genius hypothesis, he's creating a contradiction. You know, he believes in, he's monotheistic. He believes in there's one God. So I believe God is all good, but the world has a lot of evil. Maybe there's an evil God out there. He created a contradiction. They both cannot exist at the exact same time. So for right now, both of them are doubted. Boom. And it's a reasonable doubt. It's reasonable. Remember, if God exists, doubting God's existence does not make God go away. You do not alter reality by your mind. Oh, I'm going to doubt, I'm going to doubt that the floor is under me and therefore the floor is going to disappear. No, my friend, it doesn't do that. Those who fall in victim to the idea of skepticism certainly think that, but that is a false proposition. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Although this is the famous line Descartes is known for, when he says I think, he's really doubting. He's really engaged in introspection. He's looking at all his ideas, he's doubting. So the process of doubting is what he called thinking there. When he completes this process, gets to the bottom of this whole process, what he discovers is this. If he doubts every idea in his head, he still exists. He still exists, right? So the mind still exists. He went inside the mind. It's almost like a tautology. He went inside the mind and verified all the ideas can be doubted, and they can. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, they can be doubted. The first idea he saw he could claim to be true beyond a shadow of a doubt was his existence. I exist. And if I doubt I exist, I have to exist in order to exist. Notice he can doubt his existence. Radical doubt is applied. I doubt I exist. I doubt I exist, but I still exist. Okay? I doubt that I am. I doubt that I am, but I am. Right? So what's true for him is something that's been validated by being indubitable, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Not just because I am. I doubt I exist, and I still I exist. Even though I doubt I exist, I still exist. That's what makes it knowledge. That's what makes it knowledge. Now, in this particular presentation in epistemology, I'm not going to redevelop Descartes' argument for mathematics and God and the world. I want to focus more on his view of knowledge, which forces us to look at the last statement there. This is how Descartes defines knowledge, the outline of it. For Descartes, knowledge consists of a couple of things. First of all, it's clear and distinct. It's clear and distinct. You know exactly what it is. If you are confused, then it's not knowledge for you. The I am, it's a perfect example. I exist, I am, right? So if it's unclear, you don't know it. The second thing about knowledge is true idea, but it is indubitable. Notice I said that I exist. Can I doubt I exist? I doubt it, but I still exist. Indubitable, meaning it's beyond true, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Let me apply another simple example. Let us say, for example, that I like mangoes, a special kind of exotic fruit. I like mangoes, right? And I like mangoes. Now I can doubt I like mangoes. I'll still like the mangoes. You see? It's true beyond a shadow of a doubt that I like mangoes. See, just because you know something doesn't mean you can't doubt it. You can doubt it. When you doubt it, you see whether or not there's any real doubt there. And you then have to verify why you said you like it. Maybe some people like mangoes because their father liked mangoes. Their family forced mangoes on them, but they really themselves don't like mangoes. But I doubt I like mangoes. I still like mangoes, right? So knowledge is that which is doubtable. And when you doubt it, it remains knowledge. Knowledge is also an innate idea. This is very important, and probably one of the weakness in Descartes. It's not really a weakness, but it's a particular focus in his concept of knowledge. Knowledge is an innate idea. That's only one type of idea. I need to have a discussion just on ideas themselves. An idea, an innate idea, as I mentioned before, the way Descartes defined it, is an idea that's true in virtue of intuition. You see it inside. You can recognize your existence. Only you can know you exist. Anyone else outside you telling you exist doesn't really prove that you exist. Only you can see your own existence. Similarly, do you like mangoes? Or perhaps you like cheesecake, right? When you go inside, the innate idea is this. It's a perception. It's not a declaration. It's not a conceit. You see if you like something, right? Descartes gives us, in his theory, the idea of our existence. I apply this theory here to other areas where we have these intuitive truths. Because with the other application, you can see much better, more clearly what he's referring to. Knowledge is that which is grasped as an innate idea. This statement here describes the totality of his knowledge. It's grasped as an innate idea. All ideas that are true in virtue of intuition, you can see them true and they're true within. That'll be your emotion, your attitudes, your thoughts. Those all going to be true in your perceiving them, right? Not that you make them up. A direct perception of the mind. Now, this concept here is what's going to cause some problem and give rise to the other philosophers that reject this approach to knowledge. A direct perception mind. I mentioned before in this particular course that the word perception means seeing beyond the sense experiences, grasping, understanding things beyond the sense experiences. Like the words you see in front right now on this slide. They are words. If you don't speak English, they're just scribbles, okay? They're just scribbles, all right? If you don't speak English, you don't understand English, the word understanding means perception. That's what Descartes is saying. Since your mind has been trained to understand these words, you perceive what those words mean. You're not verbalizing every word. You see it and immediately you understand them, right? Language is the best, most direct way to understand perception. When you apply in other ways, like making moral judgments or making judgments on aesthetics and art, people have all these controversies. But the fact is their perception is still there. Even if we have two people disagree on what they're perceiving, they're still perceiving. And this is the most important part, you're perceiving. And this is what Descartes taught, that when he looked at reality, when he looked at an object, his mind sees the existence of that object independent of the primary, secondary qualities, independent of its shapes and its color and things of that nature. In his writing, he gave an example called the wax example. He said, take this block of wax. It has a particular color, a particular shape, a particular sound when I thump on it. If I move the front edge of the block of wax into the flame of fire, it'll begin to melt and melt and melt. Soon it has a different shape, a different color, a different odor because of the burning. But my mind still sees the same block of wax. The mind, he argued, sees reality independent of what the eyes are giving you, sense perception. This is going to cause a rippling effect, okay, that's going to give rise to the next philosopher, John Locke, right? Because they're going to argue that what I see, Descartes, with my eyes is the object. And Descartes going to say, no, I see reality. I grasp the existence of things independent of my sense perception. And this is called a direct perception of the mind. Some people call this the ghost in the machine. For me, I would like to say I agree with Descartes. This idea comes from the Plato, Aristotle, Socrates world. It is the way the rationalists see things, that the mind has a grasp of reality. Just like I can say that you see that your friend is happy in an unusual way, and you approach him, he might he or she might deny that, but you could see because you understand him. So you have perception of him beyond what he's saying. Oh, I'm not happy. All right. Later he may share, you just got a raise at the job, right? Similarly, what Descartes is saying, when I look at this, Descartes is saying is that I can, looking at all the physical attributes, I can understand the existence of this object there. When those other features change, I still recognize that existence there, right? So the mind can grasp existence independent of the sense perception. This is going to give rise to the next philosopher's empiricism.